coming
does
up.
that mean that you don't believe in God?
That's exactly what it means, yes.
What does it feel like to live a life without a belief in God?
It feels fantastic.
Really? And so where do you get your values from?
You get it from culture.
And how do you know that the values that you're getting from culture are the right values?
Oh, you don't know. Oftentimes people get very bad values. For example, a lot of people who live in the South live in a right-wing culture that leads them down a dark path.
And give me an example.
People who believe that guns are the answer and they have guns all over their house, and lo and behold, somebody accidentally used it or used it in a moment of anger, winds up dying. That's a tiny example, but other examples, people who judge others for being gay, for being the wrong color, because they've been taught to be afraid of the others.
Homosexuality is wrong. We're not supposed to hate anyone, but we cannot accept wrong as though it's good.
Do you eat shrimp at all?
Do I eat what?
Shrimp?
Yes.
You know that that's also in Leviticus, right next to the verse about homosexuality. You shall not eat shellfish. So why do you hate God so much?
I have with me my friend, Cenk Uygur. Cenk is back. He's the host of the Young Turks, the largest online news show in the world. He is founder and CEO of TYT Network. Cenk, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse. How you doing?
All is well, sir. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Are you still going to that gym?
Yes.
Equinox,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
Did you know they threw me out?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
No.
I got banned from Equinox because of my support of the Great White Hope, President Trump.
You sure it wasn't something else too? No. What?
They heard me doing an interview. I was doing an interview on the radio with my friend Bill Cunningham from Ohio, and the guy just went insane. They said he was a radical homosexual, and he got all upset, and one thing led to another one, and so they banned me from the gym, and we were looking at the best way to deal with this right now.
Okay, interesting.
Liberals can't handle the truth. So, Jake, I want to ask, there's an attack upon men, especially straight, white, Christian, conservative men of power. Do you agree there's an attack upon men?
They haven't attacked me yet. So, no, I don't think I agree.
You don't agree. And I know that you are a male. What is a man?
A man who, yeah, if you want to go to classical definitions, there's a couple different ways to look at it. So, of course, we could go biological, but I think you guys know how that one is.
Right.
And then if you want to look at in terms of being a man, I'm probably not like some liberals these days that'll say, hey, no, it doesn't really matter. I think it matters. I think it is someone who stands up and is strong and provides. So, yeah.
So a man is a male who stands up strong and provide?
Sure. Let's go with that.
And so are you a man?
I hope to God I am, yeah.
You're not sure?
I'm pretty sure, but I think that other people get to judge.
I read that you were raised Muslim, but you're now an atheist or an agnostic. Is that true?
Yes. I was born into a Muslim family, but we were pretty secular. So, we barely practiced to begin with. And now I'm agnostic. Yep.
And so what is it? So does that mean that you don't believe in God?
That's exactly what it means, yes.
What does it feel like to live a life without a belief in God?
It feels fantastic. It's liberating. You don't have to live under the mythical, theoretical, non-existent thumb of some overseer who's watching and judging everything you do. And you could actually live your life and enjoy it and be free.
Do you agree with me that you serve one God, either the God of good or the God of evil because human beings are not in control of their own lives? You're influenced by either good or evil?
No, I do not believe that at all. I don't believe any part of that statement. No.
Really? And so where do you get your values from?
You get it from culture. And so culture is multifaceted. Your parents are a huge, huge part of it. The context that you grew up, the environment, and the media is a big part of it, for better or for worse. And you put all that together, and those are the influences that affect your decisions.
And how do you know that the values that you're getting from culture are the right values?
Oh, you don't know. Oftentimes people get very bad values. For example, a lot of people who live in the South live in a right-wing culture that leads them down a dark path.
And give me an example.
People who believe that guns are the answer, and they have guns all over their house, and lo and behold, somebody accidentally used it or used it in a moment of anger, winds up dying. That's a tiny example, but other examples, people who judge others for being gay, for being the wrong color, because they've been taught to be afraid of the others. So there's a ton of examples of learning fear and hate in your culture that leads people down a bad path.
Well, the people who support the Second Amendment do not believe that guns are the answer. They're just taking advantage of the Second Amendment. We're in a free country, and we have the right to bear arms without even having a reason for it. So that was a bad example. And homosexuality is wrong. We're not supposed to hate anyone, but we cannot accept wrong as though it's good, because it's not good for society to accept wrong as though it's good.
Jesse, just quick question back at you. Do you eat shrimp at all?
Do I eat what?
Shrimp?
Yes.
You know that that's also in Leviticus, right next to the verse about homosexuality. You shall not eat shellfish. So why do you hate God so much?
And so you're justifying one bad behavior. You're saying that I'm wrong in order to justify homosexuality as being wrong?
I'm just asking you to be consistent, because I don't know why people aren't as worked up about people eating shrimp and crab and lobsters as they are about people being gay, because it is in the same exact part of the Bible. It's said in the same exact way. It's an abomination. And I don't know why you guys are completely okay with one abomination. Shrimp is delicious.
I don't know if it says eat shrimp is an abomination. I know it says homosexuality is. But I want to ask, I'm sorry?
I'm just saying you should read the Bible.
But you don't believe in the Bible. Why would you quote it?
Because I studied it. I studied the Bible and the Quran, the Old Testament, all of it, before I decided that it was nonsense. I actually studied it. I read it. And then I realized every part of it is total mythology.
And how about common sense?
Oh, I'm a huge believer in common sense. Let's find out if it's actually common, though.
But common sense comes from God.
No, it's the exact opposite. It comes from human beings who have a certain common sense.
No.
God doesn't have common sense. He's God. He knows everything.
If you notice, human beings who that don't believe in God, they lack common sense. We just went through 8 years of hell with Barack Obama because he doesn't believe in God either. And so we went through straight 8 years of hell. But I want to move on because so many things I want to talk to you about. What do you think about this crazy attack from the godless women, the children of the devil, this movement called Me Too, these haters of men?
I am speaking today, not just for the Me Too's, because I was a Me Too. But when I raise my hand, I am aware of all the women who are still in silence. The women who are faceless.
For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up.
What do you think about them?
I think the Me Too movement has been revolutionary. I think it's been fantastic, not just for women, but also, as Martin Luther King Jr. used to say, to liberate the folks from hatred in their hearts who were doing wrong. See, that's a reverend I can get behind. And And so if you were a woman and you were constantly harassed or abused or assaulted throughout all these decades by men in power,
But they
now
were
you
lying.
have to fight back.
They were lying. And how about the hatred in the hearts of the women who are behind this so-called movement attacking men?
So, first of all, you said they were lying. I don't know
Yes.
who they are.
Those women that out there rallying in.
Involved in the Me Too movement was lying?
Yes.
Jesse, you are funny, man. No wonder you have a show. Okay. No, not remotely the case.
They didn't prove anything. And not
Okay.
all of them were lying, of course. There's always exceptions to the rule, but most were. They could just say it, and then the man is automatically guilty without proof.
So that's also not true. And so
That is true.
Let me explain statistics. So, look, these are not. It's not a perfect analogy, but it's pretty close. In rape cases, are there situations where the woman is not telling the truth, or a man if he claims he was raped? Of course there are, right? That's why we have a justice system, and you're innocent until proven guilty. But the stats are that about 98% of the time, the victim is telling the truth. 98%.
Not true.
So
Those are made up
the same
lies.
percentage for the Me Too movement.
That's not true.
It's rough, but it's about right.
Those stats are absolutely false. And what you have to realize that the children of the lie, they are of the lie, so they have to make up lies. And those stats are absolutely false. Not to believe them. I want to talk to you about this whole Starbucks controversy, where these two black guys went into Starbucks there in Philadelphia, and they, according to the report, they sat there, they didn't buy anything. The manager asked them to leave, and they gave the manager a hard time. They called the cops. The cops said, "You got to go," and they gave the cops a hard time, so they had to put handcuffs and take them out. And now they're catering to these angry black thugs. So is it right to pamper blacks who are complaining and crying racism, or to encourage them to get up and do for themselves and stop begging and whining and complaining?
Jesse, those are two different matters, and you're conflating them. If you're saying, is it right to point out racism where it exists, which is unfortunately far too prevalent? Yes, of course it's right, so you can combat it and you can get to justice. If you're talking about
does not exist.
But should people go also help themselves and work hard? Of course they should. But that doesn't mean that racism is okay. You can do both things. You can fight against racism and work really hard to provide for your family.
There's no such thing as racism. It has never existed. They're lying to you. And this comes from a man who grew up I grew up under Jim Crow laws. I grew up on a plantation. Racism does not exist. It's either right or wrong, good or evil. I wanted to ask one other quick question about men and women. Is there a difference other than physical? Is there a difference between men and women?
It's hard to discern what you mean by that question. Certain, like as you point out, obviously there's a physical difference. Do you mean, is there a psychic difference? What do you mean?
Other than the physical, is there a difference between men and women?
I think the answer is no, but your question is a little confusing.
Amazing. I want to get to the Great White Hope because we're running out of time here. Did you vote for the Great White Hope?
Bet your bottom dollar that I did not vote for Donald Trump, nor do I call him that.
And why didn't you vote for him?
He's a monster. He's a pathological liar. He's deeply unstable. He has an incredibly low IQ. He's never been wealthy, bankrupted himself 6 times. The way he deals with others is monstrous. He's basically Joffrey Baratheon.
And so that's why he, after being in the White House for only a year and a few months, he's making America great again because he's all those negative things. If that's what it means to be smart, I want to be like the president. But I read that you supported Bernie Sanders. Is that true?
I 100% supported Bernie Sanders, yes.
Are you a socialist?
No, I'm a capitalist.
But Bernie Sanders is a socialist.
He's a democratic socialist, and bless his heart. And what that means, Jesse, is it's a mixed economy. And so you can call it capitalism, you can call it socialism. But basically, the government does some things like the police, the fire department, the military, and private industry does things like sneakers and burgers. And that's the way it should be. So in a so-called socialist country like Germany or Netherlands, it's very, very similar to the U.S. They just have some sectors that are taken care of by the government that we don't have. For example, healthcare insurance. And I think their system has proven out to be better, costs less.
Amazing.
And it provides more.
I got to ask, the president is in the process of putting up a big, beautiful wall around the borders. And do you support the wall going up around the borders between Mexico and America?
You know, Jesse, I get why people watch and listen to your show, because it is amusing.
Do you support the wall going up?
No, I do not.
So let me ask, illegal aliens are coming into this country, and they've been coming for a long time now, and they end up in the urban areas for the most part, in the black communities. And they are affecting blacks first and foremost. Even though they affect the whole country in a negative way, they are affecting blacks first and foremost in the area of education, employment, jobs, healthcare, because a lot of black women are relying on the government for healthcare. The violence, because they hate black Americans. A lot of blacks are having to move back to the South, and I work with them in South Central LA and other areas. Do you care that, does it bother you at all that blacks are being affected first and foremost by illegal aliens coming into their communities?
Now, Jesse, you said they hate blacks. That wouldn't be because of racism, would it?
I'm sorry?
You said they hate blacks. That sounds like racism, but you told me
evil.
There was no such thing.
There's no such thing as racism. It's either good or evil, right or wrong. But so my question is...
But why would they hate blacks in particular if there's no such thing as racism?
Let me get this in first, because I want to know, does it bother you at all that blacks are being affected first and foremost by illegal aliens coming into their communities?
I don't accept
into their communities.
I don't accept the premise of your question on several different fronts. First of all, you have no stats or studies to back up that.
I do.
Second of all,
I do.
When you say that they're using up resources, that is the right-wing ideology and frame of mind that everything is zero sum.
So you're not bothered. It does not bother you.
American doesn't get it, and the white man doesn't get it. No, we can actually expand the circle of liberty and expand the circle of resources if we do our economy right.
So, Jay, it does not bother you.
Taxes that they take out.
It does not bother you that blacks are being affected in a negative way.
So I do not accept the premise of your question. It bothers me greatly if African Americans are affected in any way, including at Starbucks.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jesse.
All right, buddy.